What's up, guys? Mamorex, back with a brand new video. And today for this video we have Undertale Timelines and Story Explained by Terra Corrupt. Now this is one of the videos that Braden Stewart recommended to me to react to understand the characters that were in Indie Cross episode 2 and that will so on be in Indie Cross episode 3 and stuff like that. So I'm ready. We start with the Undertale one. So I'm kind of working my way. I'm going to do like the shortest to longest probably. And so right now this is the shortest one, so this one we're gonna start with, then we're gonna kind of make a way. Ooh, I gotta be prepared for them hour-long ones. Anyhow, you have to go ahead and get into this. I'm ready to finally learn the lore or Undertale. You already know we just reacted to the Frisk versus Sans fight, and from what I heard, though, Moro kind of overrates, or a lot of people kind of overrate Sans a lot. From what I've heard, Sans actually isn't as strong as they make him out to be, but. Hey, he's still cool. He still seemed pretty cool though. But anyhow, I'm ready to get into this. You again. Dang. This just reminded me. I forgot I was meant to mention this right as soon as I started the video, but I might as well bring it up now. So when I was getting ready to record this video, I went out because somebody called me, and so you know how YouTube has it where like sometimes when your phone's off, the video can actually still play sometimes even while your phone's off, which is like a weird setup. You used to not have that, but this video actually started playing while my video, like I didn't make it no very far to get spoiled or anything like that. I didn't make it far at all I got was to that music, and that music was playing, and I was listening, I was hearing it while I was standing around. I'm just like, the heck is that? I'm just wondering, what the heck is that noise? And then next thing you know, I look at my phone, I'm like, oh, that's my phone. It threw me off so bad when I first heard it. So I meant to mention that right away so I started the video, but then I heard the music and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that did just happen. I'm sorry, I just had to bring that up. What the heck? Undertale Timeline.
In the world of Undertale, there exist humans and monsters. Both creatures possess souls, the essence of their being, represented by a heart in-game. Because monsters' bodies are more magical, their souls aren't as powerful as the humans thanks to their physical bodies. In this world, there is a power known as determination, which allows for souls to persist after death. As Alphys says, it is the will to keep living, and the resolve to change fate. Humans naturally carry an abundance of determination, but monsters have trouble manifesting it. Even worse, if a monster possesses too much determination, their bodies melt.
Dang.
The humans and monsters live peacefully until one day when a human is killed by a monster, who absorbs their human soul, granting the monster power not seen by the humans up until then. Terrified of the change in the status quo, a war broke out between the humans and the monsters. The war was a massacre. The humans butchered the monsters, driving them underground. The odds were stacked against the monsters, as it would take every monster's soul to equal the power of one human soul. 7 human magicians sealed the passage to the underground at Mount Ebott, creating a barrier that monsters may not pass. Thus, humans ruled above, while monsters stayed below. The only way to leave the underground, besides breaking the barrier, is to possess both a human and monster soul. So for a long time, monsters just kind of hung out in the underground. They established villages and even a royal family. Asgore Dreamer is the king of the underground, and together with his wife Toriel, they become a beacon of hope and morale for the monsters. They give birth to a son, who they name Asriel.
Isn't he cute?
The game tells us it is the year 2010X when a child climbs Mount Ebott. He is a scornful soul with contempt for humanity, who climbed up the mountain for an unhappy reason. This child is discovered by Asriel, who brings them home to his parents, who decide to adopt the human as their own. This is how Kara entered the underground and began planning his revenge on humanity by taking a monster's soul, crossing the barrier, and using its power to wipe out the humans. Nice guy.
Dang.
Kara takes his body,
And so I'm assuming that's how they became Frisk.
traverses the barrier, and travels to his old village.
I'm
Ready
assuming.
to kill everyone, Kara was stopped by Azrael, who took control at the last minute. Azrael's body is wounded badly by attacking humans, and so retreats to the underground with Kara's body, where Azrael collapses in a garden of flowers and turns to dust.
Dang.
Kara's body is laid to rest, while his soul, filled with a maleficent determination, lingers in the dark. Asgore and Toriel lost 2 sons that day. Parts of Azrael's soul were scattered into the flowers of the garden the day he died. Asgore declares war on humanity and promises to break the barrier by gathering enough human souls to shatter it once and for all. 6 humans would follow Kara in falling into the underground, including a ballet dancer, a cook, and a cowboy. Asgore's actions during this time appalled Toriel, who decided to leave him and take Kara's body to be given a proper burial in the ruins.
Dang.
She also tries to protect the humans who fall down from Asgore, to little success.
I mean, granny. Bro, for real, just lost both of his kids to the humans. I mean, even if it was mostly, I think, Kara, I think that's what we're calling them. It was mostly Kara's fault. So, but he still did kind of lose both his sons, so I can kind of understand his rage.
Around this time, 3 monsters seemingly arrive out of nowhere. Sans, Papyrus, and W.D. Gaster.
Cyrus?
Sans likes to make bad puns. Papyrus likes to make spaghetti, and Gaster likes to...
Science!
As the royal scientist, Gaster creates the core, which gives electrical power to the underground, but soon dies in a mysterious experiment that shattered him across space and time. A young reptile named Alphys becomes the new royal scientist, while the royal guard is also established, led by the fierce warrior Undyne. At this point, Asgore has 6 human souls and needs 1 more to have enough power to break the barrier. But after a long time, it seems like no other human will fall down into their world, and Asgore starts to panic. He tasks Alphys with researching alternative ways in which the barrier could be broken. She proudly takes on this task, determined in her own way to make everyone happy. That is, after she spends time creating an egomaniacal dancing robot TV star.
The heck?
Alphys learns about determination, possibly from reading text from Gaster. Using the 6 human souls already collected by Asgore, she is able to extract some of the determination embedded in them, and inject said determination into the bodies of dying monsters, hoping they might feel better. This turned out about as well as you'd expect. Remember, monsters' bodies are naturally magical and cannot hold that much determination inside of them. They degenerated into horrifying amalgamates, which Alphys sees as a physical personification of her own failure. She becomes anxious and depressed as a result. Before the monsters become amalgamates, she carried out another experiment. What if you gave an inanimate object determination? Taking a flower out of Alphys's garden, she injects it with determination. At first, the experiment seems to do nothing, but the flower goes missing after a few days of being injected. The flower that Alphys used was imbued with some of the essence of Azrael's soul after his body turned to dust. Yes, this flower is indeed Azrael, now a sentient flower with the power of determination. Confused, distraught, and traumatized, the flower cries out in pain, only to be heard by his father, Asgore. Recognizing his son, Asgore takes him in, ecstatically, and the two seem happy for a time. But something was wrong. He no longer felt compassion or love, no matter how much he tried to fake it. Flowey leaves Asgore and goes to his mother in the ruins, to try and regain his emotions. Not even Toriel can help her son. A destitute Flowey tries to kill himself when an immense fear washes over him, as he is unsure what will happen if he dies. It is at this moment that Flowey realizes the determination inside of himself, which manifests in the ability to reset.
Back at my save point.
Reset is the power to go back to the point at which you gained the power to do so. Say I get the power to reset, then 2 weeks later I decide I'm bored. I'll now go back 2 weeks. It's important to note that this isn't time travel per se. Instead, think of it like creating a new timeline, not unlike another notorious game.
Dang.
So Flowey resets, and resets, and resets. he resets thousands of times, experiencing everything the underground has to offer. He gets bored and turns malevolent. He begins killing every living thing in some of these reset timelines, just for the fun of it. Eventually, Sans starts to notice Flowey's behaviour, as he's able to recognise the resets and shift in timelines.
Whoa, so bro just almost became completely evil, almost. Pretty much he basically became completely evil. He's like, he lost his or I wonder if Kara is somehow still involved in it, and it's like, and that's what's causing Asriel to kind of lose his emotions or whatever.
Sans is in fact able to stop Flowey several times before he resets again. Sans eventually becomes apathetic, knowing the infinite permutations of timelines means his actions are meaningless in the grand scheme of things, and so stops intervening. Flowey soon gets bored of resetting, and so decides to just let time continue until something interesting happens. And here is where the game begins. As you're more than likely aware, Undertale has 3 main paths through the game. Realistically, there are close to like 30, but for the sake of ease, I'm just going to go through the 3 main ones. Let's begin with the neutral run. A young child named Frisk falls into the underground and lands on a grave of flowers where Kara's body is buried and rests. This is a pivotal moment in the game. It is heavily implied that Kara's essence grants Frisk the determination to both reset and save. Saving allows for a safety net for whoever decides to save. Should they die, they will wake up where they last saved. Frisk's ability to reset also cancels out Flowey's ability to do so, which spikes his interest in this child. Not long after Frisk falls down, Flowey appears and, while feigning friendship, attempts to kill Frisk, but is stopped by Toriel, who guides the child through the ruins to her home. Toriel pleads with Frisk to stay with her, but Frisk wants to find a way out of the underground, and so Toriel blocks the way. Here, Frisk chooses to either kill Toriel or spare her. But why would you want to kill her? Frisk encounters Sans, who had previously promised Toriel to help any humans that escaped the ruins, and his brother Papyrus, who is itching to prove himself so he can be accepted into the Royal Guard. Entering Snowdin, Frisk is able to see that monsters are a jovial and peaceful people. Until the Papyrus fight, that is. After this fight, and potential date, Frisk travels through Waterfall and encounters Undyne, who has a deep-rooted hatred towards humans. Progressing to Hotland, Frisk meets Alphys and, of course, Mettaton, who puts them through various trials and scenarios. Frisk stays determined, however, and eventually reaches the core and beyond. At this point, Frisk has met and possibly befriended many monsters, which stay in the back of his mind as he confronts Asgore in New Home. With the barrier right behind him, Asgore laments the situation. You see, Asgore was secretly hoping that no other humans would fall into the underground, so he wouldn't have to carry out his inevitable plan. Frisk stays determined and is able to stave off Asgore's attack. Whether or not Frisk decides to kill or spare Asgore, it doesn't matter. Flowey appears and kills his father, shattering his soul in the process. With the 6 human souls in front of him, Flowey could now absorb the souls from which his initial determination first came from. With human power inside of him, he transforms into a monstrous beast and decides to play with Frisk endlessly. Through the ability to save, Frisk stays alive long enough to reach out to the souls of the 6 humans, calling for help. They assist Frisk, and Flowey is defeated by the various virtues of the human soul. Frisk can then spare or kill Flowey, and then he leaves the underground through the barrier for good. Before this though, Flowey recommends that the player reset, so he can get a better ending by befriending some of the monsters he encountered the first time. Little does Frisk know that Flowey has another plan in mind. What if Frisk gathered all the monsters to one place? What could Flowey do? Before that ending, let's reset and go down a darker path. Throughout the game, it is implied that the narrator that talks to the player is actually Kara. So, what would happen if Frisk was possessed by the soul of Kara throughout the game? After resetting, Frisk progresses through the game as normal, only this time seeking out and killing every monster encountered. With each kill, Kara gains EXP, execution points that raises his LV, or level of violence. With each LV, more and more of Kara's soul takes hold of Frisk's own. Flowey recognizes Kara's soul in Frisk.
Bro, I love the way it seems Undertale's implementing game mechanics into an actual story. It's genuinely so cool, bro. I wish more games did it like this, where they implement actual like game mechanics into the actual story. That's so cool. Like, it's so cool.
And begins to help his brother by solving the various puzzles in the game for him. Sans warns Frisk that if he keeps going down this route, a bad time will happen. Ignoring this, Frisk kills Papyrus and meets Undyne, whose latent determination manifests itself as she becomes Undyne the Undying. It's interesting to note that she was one of the few monsters able to contain the determination inside themselves. Sadly, even though she was desperate to save everyone, she could not stop Frisk. Or Kara, or whoever the hell it is. Mettaton is also killed just as he transforms into Mettaton Neo. It is clear that at this point, Frisk's violence and hatred for all living things have manifested itself in determined strength. Flowey begins to notice this, and remembers back to him and Kara's time as children, with Kara bullying Asriel constantly. He pleads with Frisk to spare him, saying that he could still be helpful. In truth, he is petrified that Frisk will kill him and even destroy the entire world. Before Frisk reaches Asgore, he is confronted by Sans. Sans could no longer just sit idly by while the world was being destroyed, and even though it may be futile, with Frisk constantly saving and loading until Sans is defeated, he remains steadfast. An intense battle commences, possibly countless times. Inevitably, Sans is defeated. Frisk reaches LV20 and progresses to...
So I'm kind of getting the sense that Sans is actually the good guy, and Frisk is the bad guy. Or at least in this continuity. That's just what I'm getting the sense from. I'll have to reread, because I feel like Brandon commented something a lot more about Sans, other than the fact that he's not as strong as Moral made him out to believe. I'm gonna have to reread the comment and see everything he said. But right now, I'm getting the feeling that Sans was actually one of the good guys. But I don't know, maybe there's a twist coming at the end.
Asgore. With one rage-filled attack, Asgore is killed by Frisk, and finished off by Flowey, who insists that he helped Frisk, and that they are best friends. This marked the end of Flowey, as he is savagely decimated by Frisk.
Dang.
It is here that Kara finally makes himself known to Frisk. Kara explains his motivations, and gives the choice to Frisk whether or not he wants to erase the world and move on to the next one, or leave it as it is. Either way, it doesn't matter. If you choose not to, Kara takes full control and destroys the world anyway. Everyone dies, and Kara moves on to the next world to continue his slaughter.
Dang.
The events of this ending largely follow the same beats as the neutral.
You know, this reminds me. Now I know basically what it meant. What happens when you get a chance to actually fight Sans? Because like, if y'all ever heard of that show, The Rookie on Netflix, I never actually watched the show myself. I saw a clip on YouTube, and it was Officer John Nolan, or whatever his real life name is. I see him in a lot of different roles. He was talking to this kid, and he was because the kid was playing Undertale, and he was talking about like, oh yeah, Undertale, great. It took me forever to beat Sans though, and there were so many people in the comment section like, you mean to tell me this police officer went the genocide route? Now I see what they mean. Now I see what they mean by that's crazy that he really took the genocide route in order to play. That's actually hilarious.
Run. However, no monsters are killed this time. Frisk befriends Papyrus and Undyne, so when the battle with Mettaton is over, Frisk receives a call from Undyne asking for help in bringing her and Alphys together. They both have undeclared feelings towards another, and so Frisk helps them with the power of determination, I guess? Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that this leads to Alphys' true lab being unlocked.
What the
Frisk
heck?
enters the true lab and finds the amalgamates from Alphys' experiments. Frisk also learns about the origins of Flowey and the death of Asriel. After Alphys has been befriended, Frisk continues on to Asgore. But before they fight, Toriel appears, chastising Asgore for his cowardice and dishonesty. All the rest of Frisk's friends also show up and give thanks for helping them all out. Papyrus remarks that he gathered them with the help of a tiny little flower. Suddenly, Flowey appears and restrains everyone, commenting on the idiocy of Frisk and the monsters. In a testament to Frisk's influence on the underground, every monster appears and tries to help. Little do they know that this was all Flowey's plan. Now he has the 6 human souls and also every single monster soul in the underground. He absorbs it all, becoming...
Coming Azrael? What the? Azrael Dreamer?
It's the end. Azrael does not care about destroying the world. All he wants is to reset the timeline once again. Frisk's determination keeps them alive through the god of Hyperdeath's barrage of attacks. At times it seems hopeless, but Frisk fortifies with everyone counting on him. Calling out to the lost souls absorbed by Azrael, Frisk is able to save the friends he made throughout his journey, until there is only one soul left calling out. Frisk reaches out to Azrael's soul to save him. Images of the past come into view, of days spent with his brother Kara and his parents. All he wanted was to feel love again. But he is able to feel right now. That was enough for Azrael. He reverts back to his childlike form, thanking Frisk for staying determined. He knows that he must give back the souls he absorbed, but still doesn't want to go.
Dang.
He asks for Frisk's name, the first time this has been revealed to the player. Finally, with everyone's hopes and dreams coursing through him, Azrael shatters the barrier.
Dang.
Monsters are now able to leave the underground, and Frisk leaves with his friends. It's up to the player whether or not they want to live with Toriel in the human world, but in the end, the monster's new freedom makes everyone happy, and everyone lives out their days in peace.
Dang, so this is like the best ending.
Or do they?
Never mind. Look, I started saying, looks like this is the best thing. Oh, did he talk to the red eyes? I'm just like, never mind.
Hey guys, thank you for watching my video on Undertale. Now, I've glossed over some of the parts of the game and haven't really dug down into the more interesting theories. What's the connection between Sans, Papyrus and Gaster? Who the hell is Ice-E? How is Undyne able to contain determination? These are questions for another time. In the meantime, subscribe for more timeline and lore-based videos. What would you like to see next? A video on Final Fantasy VII or Radiant Historia? Keep on staying determined, and see you soon.
Okay, yeah, that was really good. I actually really enjoyed that one. Okay, yeah. Well, wow. So that's the lore of Undertale. I finally know all this stuff now, man. If I finally actually hear something about Undertale. But I'll be honest, I'm surprised Sans didn't have as big a role as I thought it was. I see, whenever it comes to Undertale, I see Sans promoted so much that I genuinely thought he was like the main villain of the series. I thought he was like the final boss and stuff like that. Like the amount of times I see Sans, like every time I sit here at Undertale, I see Sans. He's like the main one I see. I heard of Sans way before I ever even heard of Frisk. And Frisk is the main character, so that's why I assumed Sans was like the main villain of the series, but I guess not. But yeah, so it's kind of crazy. I was expecting excuse me. So I guess basically when Azrael came back as a flower after being injected with, I think they said they injected him with determination, right? So I guess it just removed all his emotions, but frankly, I was expecting it was like something like Kara's emotions melded with Azrael, and that caused him to lose his emotions or whatever, and that corrupted his emotions or whatever. But no, he really just lost his emotions. But that's actually kind of be crazy to think about. I don't care how many times it's used, those will always be the craziest storylines. Watching someone who was so good in the beginning, but I'm not sure you probably don't get that long with Azrael. Cause I think they probably just play it as like a quick clip story. I'm pretty sure the actual game doesn't start until after the events of everything that happens with Azrael and after he becomes a flower. But it will always be one of the coolest and crazy and saddest storylines. Watching a character who was so good in the beginning eventually slowly turn evil. So that's why Anakin Skywalker to Darth Vader is one of the biggest ones. It's the biggest victim of that. But yeah, that was really good. I actually really enjoyed that. I'm glad to finally know a good amount of the lore of Undertale. Hey, if y'all know if there's any type of theories about what's with those red eyes we first got the end of the video, let me know, or if that was just something he added in, let me know. But if that's actually in the game, if there's actually theories about what was going on right there, y'all let me know. So if there's videos I could check out about it, let me know. But yeah, it's gonna end this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you react to, what you want me to react to next. Now, granted, I still got we ain't done yet. I still got a list of videos I gotta react to of characters that are in Indie Cross Episode 2. But we gonna get to them. But until next time, y'all. See ya.